Hey there, everybody, Mazarok here, and today I want to go over a Blood DK key review submitted by a viewer. This is going to be a 17 Necrotic Wake that he told me ahead of time is going to turn into a 16 Necrotic Wake that they're going to go through pretty quickly, but he did want an opinion on the first couple of pulls here and things going on. If this is something that would interest you, there's a Google key review link down below where you can upload your viewer video up on there as well, or you can just send me a direct YouTube link to something you have uploaded. Can be unlisted, whatever have you not, in the Twitch link down below. So let's go here. He did ask for the initial pull and a little bit more to kind of see where things went wrong. He did say that the healer did disconnect as well, so that's one thing that we are going to have to take a look into here, but he did want some tanking. He did have some tanking questions. Nicely done. Okay, so there you relied a lot on misdirect, but nice use, very nice use of Gore Fiends as we're going in. Okay, you've got that going. Where's your Dancing Rune Weapon? Do you have anything that's tracking Dancing Rune Weapon? No. Okay, you got the cooldown, but you're not tracking your uptime that I can see anyway. One very important thing that I would suggest is a Dancing Rune Weapon uptime tracker. And as well, if we're going here... Oh, this is a YouTube, so I can just back for 10 seconds. Alright, so what point did you start using your shackle, right? So you have all of these are almost at half health. Okay, so one of the problems I see here on the first pull is I see where you're gathering. So you got your Dancing Rune Weapon right here, right? You're holding on to Shackle for so long, and at this point your Dancing Rune Weapon's almost gone. And it goes but before you can even spread it. So what I would have done much earlier is when you start going to 1 or 2 runes left, I would have popped Shackle and immediately started spreading it. That would have kept your Dancing Rune Weapon going a lot longer. And you wouldn't have dropped it there. Now, I mean, those are the little things there. I don't know what conduit system you're using, but I mean, so this is a Necrotic Spiteful week too. Always fun. But, I mean, going into the poll, I mean, if that's kind of... That was one of the only glaring things that I seen kind of not be super done optimized or whatever, have you not? And that's not bad at all. Alright, good use of Blood Boil there. Very important. Here, as much as is nice, I will admit, I don't think there's a reason to focus him down. I would be focusing way more heavily on the Vanguard or the Corpse Collectors here. Although I cannot read their names at all. Luckily, I just know what they are. Are you running Pelagos? Oh, you might be running Clea. I think you're running Clea here because of Necrotic Week. Because that's how you're having a minute shackle, which is going to hurt on Necrotic Week. It's kind of a trap. So on Necrotic Week, what I do is instead of going to the first one with the extra potency conduit, I will take the damage loss if I feel it's required. And swap it over to the right side of the tree on Mechanicos. But you really want to keep that big cooldown reduction on Shackle, because it's going to help with your Dancing Rune Weapon uptime. Big time. It really, really is. Yeah, I'm looking up here at your buffs. You do have that Clea buff going on. And I think your healer's going to DC, and I think this is going to be the end of the key for you here, if I'm not mistaken. Well, yeah. So, not bad. I mean, dude, couple of little things, but I mean, we're not talking anything big at all. Let's kind of, should have time to DPS anyway, and here's where you're going to move forward. Yeah, alright, so let's find your start of the key. Because that is going to happen from time to time. That is fine. Okay, so here we're going to go into a 60 Necrotic Wake. So I'll take the time while this is starting. Please like, comment, subscribe. Goes such a long way. There's a Patreon link down below if you'd like to support me directly as well. Community Discord link and Twitch link down below. So let's go down here. So here again, you're going pretty heavily on the misdirect, but not bad. You're getting a good use out of D&D, Gore Fiends, nice grouping. Don't think he got the drain fluids off, or no point that matters. Yeah, see there, on this pull here, you had a lot better use of Shackle, which you can see that you still have 6 seconds of Dancing Rune Weapon that you're still just kind of chaining and pulling through. Very nicely done. I would personally be tracking your Necrotic somewhere a little bit more prominent. That's just me. All I see is it right there. Okay, so you're running Purgatory. Interesting. But if you're worried about dying, you're worried about dying. And on Necrotic Week, you're probably worried about dying. So that's a completely fair choice. Oh, good stuff, good stuff. Here again, you seem to be focusing down I wouldn't really worry about there's some stuff going off that you could have been worried about. He's just going to get AoE down and kind of cleaved and stuff, right? So I wouldn't worry too heavily about, downing as fast as possible. He's going to get down and you're going to get that CDR, but especially this to mid to late in a pull, if he's not dying within the first couple seconds of a pull for you to get CDs for that pull, you're kind of relying it for your next chain, right? And keep on moving it. So I think it's not quite as useful. Also, I do have a Weak Aura. I'm going to post it in my Discord link down below. That when you talk to your Kyrian guy, it's going to automatically pick the Goliath option for you when you're right next to there. So it's going to save you a few seconds in having to click. But if that's something you want to grab, I can post that up for you there. It's a really, really useful Weak Aura that's good for all Kyrians. Starting with Dancing Rune Weapon, very nice. You got your Blood Boil going, very, very good. This would be a very good time to pop Shackle, which you've got it on. Oh, you went Mechanicos on this one. Okay, good. Because I saw the timeline going from a minute to 40 seconds there, so yeah. You got to make that tough choice on whether you want a Heart Strike or whether you want to keep Bone Marrow or Marrow Rend to keep it up. Interesting. Okay. He did add some music to this, so I can't have the game volume on. So I am sorry there, guys. I did try to do an original recording, and I picked up on it pretty quick. He's got some music on in the background, so I can't have the game volume on. I am sorry, but that is what it is. I mean, you did a good job. You pulled him correctly. You had can't see anything wrong with how you did it. I'm assuming you're aiming at I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. That's just a language barrier thing, but that's fine. Okay, so this is your damage done. This is overall. This is healing done. Okay. I'm trying to learn your bars here. I'm gonna be learning a different language there pretty quickly. So one of the things that I'm seeing here is, alright, number one, I'm not seeing Tombstone. Oh, no, I'm seeing Tombstone. It's right there. It's right at the bottom next to this little arrow. Very, very nice. You popped Shackle there, although I don't think you had to, but you got it back pretty quick with so that would have been a judgment call, which I think you would have done fairly well. There you go. I'm seeing Tombstone in your Weak Auras as well. I like your Weak Aura setup. I like it nice and slim. I like how you got it going around. Weak Aura setup, UI setup, my bad. I think you're holding on to Shackle a lot more than you had to be. But you might have been saving it for another pull there. I mean, that's kind of... Things died fairly quickly. There, you lost your Dancing Rune weapon because you didn't chain pull. Right? So let's kind of move over here. You've got it going, and you would have had to have been quick. You're going, but you stop, and you turn around, and you lose your Dancing Rune weapon. Putting it on cooldown, and your Tombstone is already on cooldown, so you're not getting that CDR. And you have Shackle up, which had you popped Shackle during that pack, you would have extended Dancing Rune weapon long enough where you would have been able to run out. Now, this is one thing that I've seen with tanks quite a bit, is they try and help out with Spitefuls in clear open areas. Unless you're in like a mist and you need to Theater of Pain where you need the portal or the open way you need the Spitefuls to die so you can go through. So Necrotic Wake is a perfect example here. To skip, you need those Spitefuls dead. You need them dead, right? You turned around to help them when they could have just ran away, and you lost your Dancing Rune weapon because of it, meaning you've lost your defensiveness and everything else. So had you popped Shackle earlier, you would have kept Dancing Rune weapon going, and you could have rolled it into the next pack had you not doubled back. But we're talking minor little optimizations here that will end up counting for a lot, right? Because the moment you start losing your Dancing Rune weapon, you're losing a 40% strength buff once you get that done. So it's always a little troublesome to kind of... Now here... Okay. So I was a little worried with kind of your movement, but you seem to have settled on a spot, which is what you needed to do. I'll just kind of pull them into one little corner right there, or like set them, and I won't move them so the DPS won't have to worry about moving around. Because a bad timing on a DPS and you moving them around in a higher key will just... that cleave will just one-shot, but I mean... You did good by keeping them away from the DPS and things like that, and you did a very, very good job there. Your DPS are mowing these Necromancers down, man. That's the second Necromancer pack in a row where they're just friggin' crushing it. I mean, you gotta keep up some DPS while, you know, you're waiting around. I totally understand taking a Spiteful there. Gotta pad that overall. Alright, so this is the pull here that you told me you were having some problems with. So let's see what's going on here. Okay. You're going to be losing a lot here, so let's just stop. Let's go back. Right off the bat, don't rely... Threat in this game is garbage. Absolute garbage. Open with a Blood Boil here and hit Death's Advance to get the little bit of movement that you need to get from here to here. You do not need to be mounted to get there that fast. I don't know where your extra button is, but this is one that I prefer. This is me, especially on bad weeks, bolstering necrotic, things like that can really hurt if the pack goes on too long. I will use the Goliath buff and the orb at once. Now, I think this is... I'm not sure if you do, but yeah. So you're waiting a little bit too long, and you're relying on misdirect to be able to get that through, right? And right off the bat, okay, you're going, but this is a pack that's troublesome. You're holding on to Shackle. That's one thing I think that's going on a little bit too long, is I think you're worried about optimizing all of your runes so much that you're holding on to Shackle a little bit too long. That's a pattern that I'm kind of seeing emerge a little bit. But I mean, you did a good job. I think you used your file for necrotic stacks there. I see it, yeah, I see it being used down there. You didn't even use Shackle at all that pull. On a nice big pull like that, you had free damage. And you're losing out on a lot of damage, because Shackle's going to be either number 1 or number 2 on your damage meters if you're using it a little bit more, and I think you're saving it way too much. To me, it seems like you're worried about the optimization of your runes so much that you're kind of holding it until you need more runes, where really you kind of have to find a fluid balance of... You don't want to use it at full runes, but you don't want to wait until you have none and you need some to use it, because it is a fantastic damage dealer. And I think if you pop it a little, if you play a little bit more aggressively with it and find that little balance that I talked about, here's a little dangerous. Do you have any pet classes? Okay, cool. I was a little worried. Spitefuls were still up, so technically your party was still in combat, but you didn't. Oh, nope, there you go. There you have it. Right there, this is a Spiteful problem. there, yeah, I saw that kind of coming. So this here, so let's go over. Here, okay, so there you still have Spitefuls up, okay? Turn around, you see the Spitefuls. Your party is still in combat, and you have pet classes, aka a hunter. And as you enter combat here, pets and stuff are going to come around, and they're going to pull all of this coming in. And you see how they kind of... So when they came in, they immediately came in there and started directing themselves towards your hunter. That means that it was probably some sort of pet, maybe, or some sort of weird aggro. He is marksman, so he shouldn't have a pet out, but he might be preparing lust in advance. I don't know. He might have forgotten it out. It could be that he's Kyrian and his owl or whatever have you not. But this is one where you want to make sure that you're completely out of combat before you go over the edge, and you want to make sure that everybody is above the edge, because when you enter combat in like this and you don't have invises or anything, you're going to aggro the whole group. That's just unfortunate bad luck. Pop AMS right here. Pop it. One thing I'm seeing that you're holding onto as well, this is kind of a pattern that I've seen emerge a little bit. Do you have... Alright, so number one, you're feared. Let's take a look. You've got Lichborn up. Lichborn is an anti-fear, anti-charm. Literally, if it fears you, you hit it, and boom, you're done, and you get some nice big leech out of it. That is something that should be brought to muscle memory, although it doesn't occur very often. Have to admit, there's not a lot of things that auto-fear you, but in things like Mist of Tierna's Scythe, this will come into big play. It's got a 2-minute cooldown, but on oh shit moments like this, I'd always love to have it handy. Another thing is you are not using Anti-Magic Shell enough. I'm kind of seeing this pattern emerge a little bit. Okay, your Icebound Fortitude was down. That's completely fair. See, here you can Anti-Magic Shell these Freezing Winds, right? But you're calling for a reset, so you want to hold on to CDs. That's fair. That's totally fair. I can understand that. Yeah, your necrotic stacks are going to go through the roof. Wasn't your brawn. That's not true, by the way. Brawn will absolutely pull. If you are in combat, Brawn will pull. If he's on the other end of the room running and he runs through mobs while you're in combat, it treats him in combat and he will pull. So do not think that it won't. If you are not in combat, he will not pull. If you are in combat, he will pull. So that is something that needs to be very clear about that wipe. But that wasn't your Brawn, that was your Owl. Because your Owl is treated as a pet. And no, it doesn't deal it's not a damage dealing pet, but it's still a movement based ally that ends up in combat. Like, that's always kind of one of the problems there. So here you're waiting on your timer to kind of go through, so we're going to kind of skip ahead. Is what it is. You get a free kill here. Worst part is had they focused on just a little bit harder here, they probably would have had the healing and get you what you needed done, but not bad at all. I would personally, yeah, if I were you, I'd be going right to that orb. Never let anybody else get it. That's the tank in me, but that's what it is. You let them deal with the all that crap. Now here, you let your Bone Shield stacks expire. I would have absolutely never let that happen. I don't care if they're ready or not. You pull. If I got Bone Shields that's about to expire, I'm pulling. I would rather have 9 than 5. Especially if it's a matter of a couple of seconds. Okay, so here he Frost Trapped him. But you're kind of... I would be pulling... Personally, if I saw that Frost Trap that close, I would starting to be pulling the opposite direction. So then that way nothing accidentally knocks him out. Because, I mean, you can get a little bit too close with a Blood Boil. And there we have it, right? There. Came right off the bat. Pretty quick. Now, you guys were pretty quick to notice it. but the final harvest is about to go off right when he's dying. So that's one thing that you're going to have to, like, I would have been pulling that away automatically. But that is what it is. It's just kind of little minor optimizations here. When did you use Shackle? Let's take a look at this. Okay, so you use Shackle. One of the things that you should absolutely try and do is use Shackle whenever you can when there's more than 4 mobs. Now, I'm not saying hold on to it while they're singular, but you just had a nice big pack there with a bunch of different things, a bunch of different mobs, that you could have used Shackle, and then you chose to use it on one single target and nothing to spread it with. So you're not gaining the rune benefit, and you're losing out on a lot of damage from it not spreading to anything. And then on top of that, you're not going to have it for the next time that he pulls up the ads for all of this thing. Don't kill CC'd ads. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that was kind of... So here again, you're kind of trying to center everything, and you've got this Frost Trap that all it is just one little tick can hit it and then go bad. So that's one thing that we want to watch out for, but I mean, that's minor. See, here you could have had Shackle for these mobs and just spread it off, right? And then your Shackle damage would have been pretty crazy. And as well, you would have been fine. So here you've got a lot of melee in the group. What I like to do is once all those mobs are dead, I'll immediately pull a Marth out, because you're gonna, wherever the mobs were, which typically they were on you, they're gonna do their little final harvest thing on the ground. I would have pulled them out. This can be a very fluid fight that you don't necessarily need to be static on and stay still. You can actually kind of move him around, and moving him around after the ad thing is kind of like what I like to go and where I like to see. You still need 1%. Yep. You still need 1%. This is a moment... No. Alright, so please tell me you're not going to pull this. This is where you have to make an executive decision as a tank. You chose this, which is fine, but this guy gives quite a bit of count. Where there is, at the end of the dungeon... a guy that just brings you to the front. You could have easily just grabbed your 1% off an easy-to-pull mob at the front and then run back. That's something that I would have just said. Because now people are... And one of the main reasons why I'm an advocate for, if you are missing percent and you have an easy way back, just to get it at the end of the dungeon and run back, is because one of the things that people have timed mentally through muscle memory is... their cooldown usage and their ability usage, right? So, now what you've done is you've thrown them off their game. Some people may have just used cooldowns for that didn't need to use them and had them prepared. Yeah, see, here we're looking at Marksman Hunter, right? Just uses 2 minutes, just uses 1 minute. And there is a big pull coming where he wanted those. You don't have a Blade Storm, although it might be up for that part of that portion, right? You don't have a Slink, although your Slink might be, your SLT might be coming up in a little bit there. It allowed your Dancing Rune Weapon to come up. Very true. But, yeah. So I would be orbing already. It's morbing time. No. I would be orbing this nice big pull you've been doing, which I think you're gonna do. But you're losing out. See, yeah, you're losing out on a lot of burst here, but you're doing pretty good. You let your Bone Shield stacks run out. Yeah, the main criticism I have going on right now is you are holding on to, like, you lost your Dancing Rune Weapon, and you're shackling now, where you could have easily shackled with Dancing Rune Weapon upkeep it. If you have to do it with all 6 runes available, and it is what it is, that's whatever. But you should... I don't know what's going on there, whether you're worried about the optimization of... Great use of Tombstone, by the way. If you're worried about the optimization of your runes to the point where you're holding on to Shackle. But when you're playing aggressively with Shackle, you're going to... for those that don't know, Shackle the Unworthy is the Kyrian ability for for Death Knights. When you're playing aggressively with Shackle, it's going to be on your... It's literally going to be number 1 or number 2 on your damage meters, kind of depending on the dungeon. Sometimes it's Heartstrike for me, sometimes it's Shackle, but both of those share and interchange. But that's where I'm kind of seeing... And here you have it again, and you're holding on to it. And you're letting... Dancing Rune Weapon's about to expire, And you're playing with it right on the edge. You're playing with it. You're okay. So you popped it right at the edge, but I'd also have to see what your haste is, because what's seeming to me is your rune generation is a little slow, and you need to have a little bit more haste. That's something I'm kind of seeing that could be problematic for you. Right now, I'm sitting at about 40% haste with using the Tenebrous Food Roast haste thing. And I sometimes have a Solios on me. I'm not sure. I'm sitting at around 39% base is what I'm trying to say, without any additive buffs, and that is kind of what you want to aim for. Blood Death Knight is in a weird space right now where the secondary stat of haste is worth more to you than primary stat, right? You need to focus haste almost on anything, and then kind of versatility and mastering and crit afterwards. So I think your haste is a little low. As well here, so if we look here, your Dancing Rune Weapon's coming. I would already be, personally, this is the way that I work, I would be working towards chain pulling into this already. As these mobs are dying, I would be backpedaling along and bringing them closer and closer to the point where all I had to do was turn around, give myself a little forward, just a little boost, and boom, you're already into the next pull. Now, this also does require that you kind of know a little bit of what your threat distances are and how close and how far you can get. But you would have had an easier time upkeeping Dancing Rune Weapon had you played just a little bit more aggressively with this chain pulling. And this is one thing where I think sometimes people don't realize or know with Blood DK is to get the most out of its current 4-piece legendary and everything, you need to play as aggressively as possible. Kind of already presetting up your chain pulls and moving along. Like, especially if I'm in the zone and I'm keeping Dancing Rune Weapon up to almost 100%, and I'm just going. I am not stopping. If a DPS dies, I'm not waiting for them to res. I'm not. I am going. And just kind of chain pulling. You can go back to your point and walk back. I don't care. But we need to keep going because the setup is the worst, so you never want to let that drop. But you're doing a good job. I think one of the main criticisms is the main criticism that I've had for pretty much the whole time, is you're holding onto Shackle way too much. See, here you've got Dancing Rune Weapon up, and you're holding onto Shackle. Dancing Rune Weapon's gonna drop. Oh no, you got it going through a couple heart strikes, but you're gonna let Dancing Rune Weapon drop here, and you have Shackle going, and you pop Shackle as Dancing Rune Weapon's already gone. You're holding onto it way too much. Yeah. There is something that you can control undead here as well, by the way. One of the the little guys that put the circle stun. Yeah, you can control undead them if you want to ever add that into your account or whatever. Have you not? But that's just minor. That's very minor. You don't need to at all. We're looking here. I mean, you're doing good. You're using your Ghoul, which is something I don't see a lot of Blood DKs doing, by the way. It's kind of free damage, and it's off the cooldown, so you can have it up for half the dungeon. Why not? Got that early morning coffee going. I'm trying to kind of pay attention to what you're using here. Honestly, your necrotic stacks weren't that high. I mean, if you felt in danger and you needed to kite, sure, but I wouldn't have kited there. You could have definitely healed through it. I think you had the tools at your disposal to heal through it. Okay, I was gonna say, you seem to be planning for a tombstone usage there, which is very, very nice. Let you get a Dancing Rune Weapon in on this pack very, very quickly. Nicely done. Your tombstone usage is on point. I absolutely have to admit, your tombstone usage is on point. You're using it very, very well, and you're using it fairly aggressively to get the cooldown back. That portion of your game is a fucking 1, dude. A1. You sit on Vamp Blood a lot. I have a tendency to do the same. I really do. I have a tendency to absolutely sit on Vamp a lot more than I have to. It's kind of a no crap button for me because it's, it's healer external and everything like that. But I mean, Minor. Minor, 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 minor. I'm just trying to kind of see what you're... Yeah, you focus down so much. Let the DPS worry about But I mean, your pulling wasn't bad. I don't know what you said where you have like, I'm really, really... okay, here is Stitch Flask. Here is like very, very bad. You weren't very bad at all. I honestly think you did very, very good. I'll go over that big pack in the Necropolis in a second. Because I think what happened there is... I won't speculate on that now, but I'll go back to that pull afterwards. But I mean, honestly, dude, you've got the core fundamentals of Blood DK are definitely down. Literally, the things you have to worry about are the optimizations of your rotation, and worry about Dancing Rune Weapon a lot more. All right, so here I see you have Rune Tap. To me, this is what I would do with your weak aura setup right off the bat. I would change Dancing Rune Weapon and Rune Tap places. I'd make Dancing Rune Weapon a little bit bigger, but even move it around with Blood Boil, I don't care. But make this something you need to see way more, because Dancing Rune Weapon uptime is by far the most important thing for Blood DK. And especially if you have it like right here next to Shackle, it's going to make your eye, you're going to train your eyes to look more there, and it'll keep Shackle going, and it'll remind you to use Shackle a little bit more. There you go. You never let those blood shield. You never ever let those blood, the bone shield drop. Never ever. Yeah, cleave off to the boss onto Earth. That's perfect. Playing it nice and tight with Comet Storm. Love to see it. You don't want to lose that. You got Dancing Rune Weapon going. You still got... fairly aggressive. Are you playing Clay here or are you playing Mechanicos? I just don't know. I just don't know if you're playing Clay or Mechanicos. I'm trying to see. I think you're playing Mechanicos. I think. Woo! Oh, something happened there. Oh, you're playing music. Checking your movement. I mean, fundamentals of tanking throughout the entire dungeon, you've got it down pat, right? You're okay. We're talking minor optimizations on a very technical spec, is what we're talking about here. So I know you wrote here that you felt very bad, or like, you know, that you weren't good. Honestly, I think you're being way too hard on yourself. And the couple of fundamental changes that I talked about, especially this low in a key. Now, in Necrotic, I can understand why you're playing Purgatory in a 16. I can get it, right? If you're worried about it. I can absolutely understand that. I prefer Bone Storm in lower keys. It's an additive DPS and extra healing, but it's Necrotic weak, so you're not going to get the full benefit of that healing. And, I mean, you can die from Necrotic, right? So you can use Purge. If you know you have your Purgatory up, you can use it offensively and just be like, no, I'm going to die and proc it here to not lose threat or aggro and keep a pull going. So I totally understand the talent choice here. I really, really do. Very nice. I love the fact that you guys stack those Comet Storms so well. Very, very nice. Very good. I'm trying to see your other cooldown usage. I mean, dude, you're playing this spec very, very well. You really, really are. And I think what happens is you're playing like it was the last 2 seasons, and you're not playing as aggressively with, yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Are you 1 point away from KSM on this poll? Are you 1 point away from KSM? I have to see that again. You are 1 point away from KSM. Dude, that is hilarious. I was at, for my original 3K, I was at 2999.9. So I feel this down, right in the heart, right deep in the heart, man. I feel that. But let's go down to, I want to go to this original pull here down in the Necropolis. Here, it seemed like you didn't really know kind of what you were pulling or where you were going to go with it. So I just kind of... All right, so here... Where's the... Okay, popping here. Okay. Let's... Okay, so the... Oh! I was about to say, usually it's always coming in here. Okay, but because you double backed. This is another reason why you don't double back right after Amarth. These guys start their roleplay, and to get your most optimal pull, this pat right here would be where you would have started. Right, that's why. It would have come here, all you do is walk into a straight line, and you just pull everything and pop, and then you've got a very good use for your orb. But because you double backed, the roleplay had already started, and they padded all the way up here, and all the way back, and it kind of ruins the rhythm. So when you do the double backing for count like that sometimes, you're ruining the rhythm of the pulls and kind of what happens. So if people say, oh, percent, we'll get it at the end. That's fine. There are plenty of dungeons in this game, Necrotic Wake being one of them, that at the end, there's someone you can talk to literally bring you to the start, and you can just pull something small there, right? I did it in the Halls of Atonement last night. The other night because I was short because of a wipe that kind of occurred on a bolstering shard pack, and I had missed 2 Toiling Groundskeepers, and we were moving along, and one of the guys was like, "Well, no, we need percent. Yeah, we'll get it at the end. We're in a rhythm. Cooldowns are going, and we're in the rhythm of the dungeon where it needs to be to keep things smooth. Because the worst thing that you can do, and this happens in the MDI." Where, you know, they're like, oh, is this recoverable or not? And it's not whether or not they can do the pull again, it's that cooldown allocation and muscle memory of the run has been disrupted, has been broken down. So now people that are used to having cooldowns for one area aren't going to have it, and that's going to make the next pull harder or weirder and not work right. The more that you can keep with stability and just moving forward, you're going to have to make that call as a tank sometimes of, no, we're going to press forward and come back at the end for extra percent, because you don't want to screw down cooldown usage or ruin the rhythm and flow of a dungeon. And that to me is kind of what I've seen here, because it seemed to me like, if we go back to the start here, it seemed to me like that was your original plan. You're walking forward because you want that pat that's there, and it's not there anymore, right? Like, that's what you wanted. It's on the other side of the room. So now you're having to adjust. And when you have to adjust, mistakes start to happen. But in all honesty, you adjusted very, very well. You did very well there. All in all, dude, like, the biggest thing to work on is your Shackle the Unworthy. You're going to get a lot more Dancing Rune weapon uptime. You're going to see a lot more damage kind of happen in your run naturally. But that's the biggest thing you got to work on, aside the little optimizations that I've talked about throughout the entire dungeon, but that's it. So let me just go kind of to the start here. Hit play. I want to thank you very, very much for this key. It was an absolute blast to review. Thank you so very much. The bravery and kind of what the inner guts that it takes to put yourself on there online to be criticized by somebody on the internet is massive. Thank you so much for this key. If you are interested in having a key reviewed, I would absolutely love to do it for you guys. Any tanks, come on, let's go. I would love to see a Prot Warrior super badly. I haven't seen enough Prot Warrior lately, but that's just me. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I hope this was a helpful video. If you have any more comments or any more tips for the gentleman or the lady down below, I do not know. Not my place. Don't care. The wonderful person that is this Blood DK tank. Please, let's always keep it civil and positive and constructive. There's no need for toxicity in this community whatsoever. Have yourselves a good day. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.